What's good, y'all? It's your man SamAnt here at Viral Hip Hop News. Go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you hit the notification bell to get all the latest notifications every time I drop a video here on the platform. I do appreciate it. All right, so this is a story right here that I'm about to report that I've reported a million times. I've heard a million times. Hell, in fact, I've been a part of this story. Not this particular story, but the story of independent artist signed to independent label, later finding out you ain't as independent as you thought. Now, Meg Thee Stallion is currently signed to 1501 Records down in Houston, with my man Carl Crawford being the CEO. If you don't know who Carl Crawford is, he used to be a former Major League Baseball player for the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of my favorite baseball players who's recently transitioned into the music game, becoming the CEO of 1501 Entertainment down in Houston, Texas. Carl Crawford being one of the men who found Meg Thee Stallion, signed him to his label. We seen a couple months ago that Meg Thee Stallion recently got some paperwork inked up with Roc Nation, where then Carl Crawford was dropping some cryptic messages. We talked on the podcast of whether or not Roc Nation was doing a hostile takeover with Meg Thee Stallion, what was really going on. In the back of my mind, I had some kind of feeling that this was what was going on. Welcome to the music business. And here it is. Meg Thee Stallion went on her live today to voice her displeasure about 1501. I'm going to drop a little bit of what she said. I'm going to drop what Carl Crawford said in response, and then I'll give my 1-2. But without further ado, let's listen to Meg Thee Stallion. Let's go.
We met T Ferris, and T Ferris was like, okay, I have this label and I really want you to sign to it. It's an independent label, we just starting up. Me and my mama love T Ferris. Boom. Signed to 1501. Signed to 1501. Now, 1501 had a bunch of artists. A bunch of niggas on the label. So, I started getting more popping. And then I signed with 300. That's another independent label. Okay? It's my second independent label. So, when I signed with 300, everybody's still a big happy family. Everybody happy. Everybody good. So, I signed with 300 because even though 300 is a independent label, it's still a bigger label. Like, in my head, it's like, okay, they're going to be able to put my music in more places. Like, because I was still uploading shit like CD Baby, even when I was on 1501. So, I mean, I'm still on 1501. But even when I first started on 1501, I was still putting shit out through like little bitty ass distributors. So, when I got with 300, it just happened to go to like a bigger scale. So, point blank period, now, on this day, I want to tell y'all that 1501 trying to tell me I can't put out no music. 1501 don't want me to put out no music. And I've been seeing a lot of little shit on the internet. Motherfuckers be talking shit. And it's real crazy because all I did was ask to renegotiate my contract. Then it became a big old thing. When I signed, I didn't really know what was in my contract. I was young. I think I was like 20. And I didn't know everything that was in that contract. So when I got with Roc Nation, I got management, real management. I got real lawyers. And they was like, do you know that this is in your contract? And I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. No, I didn't know. So, I'm not mad at 1501. I wasn't upset. Because I'm thinking in my head, oh, well, everybody cool. We all family. It's cool. It's nice. Let me just ask some niggas to renegotiate my contract. Soon as I said I want to renegotiate my contract, everything went left. Like, it just all went bad. It all went left. So now they telling the bitch that she can't drop no music. It's really just like a greedy game. Like, it's really just real greedy. Wasn't trying to lead a label. Wasn't trying to not give nobody money that they feel like they entitled to. I just want to renegotiate some shit. I'm not a greedy person. I'm not a person that like confrontation. I'm not a person that's a bitch. Like, I work with everybody, and I'm nice, and I'm real family oriented. But niggas gonna be niggas, and they gonna be greedy, and they gonna be shady. And I see the shit that people be, that, you know, that can't be saying about me, and I'll be like, damn, well, since you got so much to say, why you just won't tell them? Why you mad? You mad because I don't want to roll over and bow down like a little bitch, and you don't want to renegotiate my contract. Niggas be like, oh, yeah, they made Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion was Megan Thee Stallion before I even got over there. So to new artists coming out, I just want to say, please, it might seem good, it might sound good, but you definitely got to read. And you gotta read and read, all that shit. Don't sign nothing without no real lawyer. And make sure your lawyers is not the lawyers of your label lawyers. Get your own lawyer with their own opinion.
All right, so we heard Megan Thee Stallion and what she had to say. That was a edited version of what she had to say. If you want to hear it in its entirety, go over to her IG. She has that up on her live right now. Now, Carl Crawford, the CEO of 1501 Entertainment, got wind of what Megan Thee Stallion said. And I don't know if this was before or after, but this was definitely directed toward Megan Thee Stallion. Here's what he said. At a time when loyalty is at an all-time low, it's nice to be linked with Jay Prince, who is steady teaching me how to move in this cutthroat industry 100. And I know that terrifies some people, especially the ones who double-cross me. Hashtag payback is a bitch. Hashtag 1501. Hashtag mob ties. Now, Megan Thee Stallion said some very poignant things that stood out to me. One was that it wasn't until she got with Roc Nation's lawyers that she began to realize what was in her contract. And then if you heard toward the end, she said, get your own lawyers, get your own attorney, don't work and don't rock with the label's attorneys. Now, Roc Nation obviously has a little more coin in the independent label being 1501, even though Carl Crawford is paid. Very successful baseball career. The brother's now broke, but we're dealing with Roc Nation, a major label, so obviously they'll have some bells and whistles, a little more tighter, a little more cleaner than your independent label. And obviously they're going to point some things out to Megan Thee Stallion. Why? To get her displeased, to get her upset, to let her know, look, man, what's going on? Because ain't nobody stupid. If you sign to an independent label, let me be clear. The label's independent. That don't mean your ass is. And I know this from personal experience. I signed an independent contract back in 2014 with my group mates. Shout out to the brothers. Signed that contract under the assumption that we were independent, that we were just going to have another level of distribution, another level of publishing involved within our musical contract and our musical career. But all in all it meant was we could sit back and record what we want. We can drop free work. But if they were going to distribute the content, it was under their time, their rule, their coin, whatever the case may be. And once you found out that situation, 9 times out of 10, you weren't dropping music how you want. I'll give you an example. I was in a contract in 2014. I just recently got released from that contract in 2020. 6 years, 4 albums dropped. Excuse me, not 4 albums, 4 singles, 4 songs from this independent label. One thing that Megan Thee Stallion has to understand is welcome to the music business. You had a lot of things that you said were valid from a moral point of view, but when you get involved in this game called the music industry, you have to make sure that you read every inch of your contract. Understand you were very young when you signed it. You were just hungry. You were probably just ready to get in there and work, thinking the music and the talent would speak for itself. You're doing all these things independent. You're on ciphers. You're one of the hottest females out in the game. Why the hell can't you drop content? Oh, because in the contract it said you can't drop anything until I tell you. And now you want to renegotiate contracts, which is all fine and well and understandable. But if it's not in your paperwork, they don't have to. Welcome to the music industry. I'm not trying to be insensitive but I'm trying to give people, especially young and up and coming artists. God and I have been doing little college circuits and been talking to some kids who's in the music industry, and I always try to throw them game and let them know, listen, don't ever sign a contract. If you want to stay independent, you don't sign to anybody. How are you independent by yourself signing to somebody? It makes no sense. But you have to really understand the game and understand that before you go ahead and run into a contract and then complain that it's fair or it's foul. Now, you have agreements and you have partnerships and you have things that you can negotiate with certain labels, that being major or independent, that could benefit both you and them. But you got to make sure that stipulation is in your paperwork. You get a buzz, you get everything solidified before even making your way over to a label, because you have to have a body of work. You have to have some solidified content backed up with a business plan, backed up with the proper legal team before you go in there and start maneuvering with sharks. Because if you go in there by yourself, you fresh fish and you're going to get eaten alive. Unfortunately, we're looking at one of the hottest females out to date who, I'm not going to lie, ain't getting paid. Point blank period. She's still dropping music on CD Baby, or she was prior, or while she was with 1501. That's a small distribution company. You have that. You have TuneCore. You have a couple other distribution companies that you can go through as independent artists. But if you want that major backing, that major push, obviously you have to start getting with a little bit of a bigger wig, people that have those kind of connections. And that's why you want to make sure your business is in line prior to signing anything. Meg Thee Stallion, although she may be correct from a moral point of view, from a business standpoint, she has absolutely zero legs to stand on. I reached out. I got my intern reaching out to Carl Crawford. Like I said, I love his brother as a baseball player. Been paying attention and watching him as a music exec. Would love to sit down and speak to that man in regards to his grind, in regards to how he got into the music industry and the shit that he's dealing with now. I hope that Meg Thee Stallion and 1501 can come to a mutual understanding, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better. In fact, it seems like it's going to get uglier before it gets prettier. So we'll just have to wait and see. Meg Thee Stallion, now, welcome to the music industry. Y'all leave y'all comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this situation. We'll be talking about it more on the podcast tomorrow, I'm sure, as we get more information and as this story unravels. Y'all stay tuned. In the description box, you'll see links to our Twitter and IG, which you also see up top. Also in the description box, make sure you subscribe to the most dangerous podcast out here to date, the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with my brother, God. Appreciate each and every one of y'all support. Always trying to keep it raw, real, and uncut here at Viral Hip Hop News. Until next time, until next story, I sincerely appreciate each and every one of y'all, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.